Alrighty, hello. First ever live stream here. I am live. Hope you guys can forgive me if you're watching this later. Just waiting a little bit to see how it goes. Trying to get some stuff set up here. Let's see. What do we got? Got nothing here. And that's perfectly fine. But is what it is. Still figuring this out, my first go round. So hopefully you guys can forgive me for that. Let's see. There we are. Let's see. Got it. And there we go. Got a viewer. Hello. Welcome. So yeah, I just posted a tweet about it. I'll be up for about an hour. I'll see how this goes. Worst come to worst, this has no interaction and nobody really cares, so it's all good. Again, if you happen to be watching this later, hope you're having a good one. First ever live stream, if you couldn't tell. My setup is very rough and I have no real idea what I'm doing here, but doesn't hurt to try, you know. But if you are wondering what this is about, this is mostly going to be a test run for a live card unboxing tomorrow. Let me just go ahead and switch over. There we go. Make sure. Yes, sir. Alrighty. So, yes, the Digimon card game. Me and a friend of mine have been very into this for a while, and, well, we've taken to buying some boxes and opening them up, and I happened to get this one, the most recent set, a little bit earlier than I think I should have, but more than likely just a happy little accident, and I am going to be opening that tomorrow, probably around noon. Right now, when I am streaming this, it is about 10:15 or so, 10 o'clock at night, let's say. So, it gives you an estimation of what I'm going to be really going for afternoon. I'll try and put out a little notification for everything. But please let me know how things are going for you guys on your end listening to this, because, again, first time doing this, no idea if I'm doing things right or not. I've got a live chat in the corner there going, and I've got this set up. This I actually managed to get from a little card shop, well, not a card shop, a gaming shop close by, and when I was buying supplies, my buddy Dennis actually asked if they had any cards. He said no, but he did have these posters and a few promo cards, which was pretty cool. And the funny thing about this poster, and I might show that later, is this is actually a, as it says here at the bottom, perforated demo half deck. And that pretty much means that it's got cards from the first starter deck, I believe it was Thai Red, that you could build like a little makeshift deck with some rules to try the game out before you actually buy stuff. Pretty cool, pretty cool. But few things I want to try out. Let me see about that. Please let me know if that affects anything. That's moving my mic. But this camera I just got today, and I've been working to get it set up. But I have got some pre-opened cards here. A little makeshift test deck for anything that I build. Just to see how things fare. If you guys can see that kind of thing. I notice there's a little bit of glare coming from my light, which I apologize for. But this is just to really check and see how it looks on camera as I do this. Because, yeah, with this Great Legend box that I've got, the Great Legends, I kind of know what's going to be in here. For the most part, I know what's going to be in here. Don't remember everything off the top of my head. But I've got a few cards that I'm aiming for in this. But since this is my first box that I'm opening up, really it's about filling up my binder. Which, if you guys want to take a look at that at some point, let me know. I'll happily go run and grab that. But yeah. I'm going to save this for tomorrow, after I'm a little more comfortable with this setup. If you can't tell, I'm actually feeling a little more comfortable talking live like this right now, and I'm trying to fill the dead air, which is what it is, because, again, first-time streamer, nobody knows me, but figured having this might pull some people in, who knows. So, yeah. One thing I'll definitely be doing as I go through it is... pardon me, I'll be opening them up, going over some fun facts that I know, and if you guys know any fun facts about any Digimon I pull from here, feel free to share it, because I'd love to hear more about what you guys have to say on things. But I'm looking forward to it. And I've got another box of 1.0 coming sometime. Last I checked, I believe it's Monday. So, might do a live stream then as well, opening that up, because since I've got most of the cards in that one, I have to double check, because 1.0 was a little funky with how they did things, having a mixture of 3 different sets in one box, and then 1.5 came in and filled out the rest of what was missing, which is pretty cool, pretty cool. But, all that said... Let's see. Yep, nothing there. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to monitor everything. I'm doing this solo. And any suggestions or such? Let me see. Let me readjust that. There we go. So, yeah. To just give a little history, just for the sake of things, to fill in the hour that we've got. I have been a Digimon fan since it first came to the US. I kind of enjoyed it for what it was while it was going on with Pokemon and stuff like that. You know how it is. But one of the main things that kind of drew me to it was more the story. But as things went along, you know, things got a little crazier. And I remember very vividly having the original Digimon cards. I don't know if anybody else remembers these, but they were confusing as all hell that I can remember. Like setting up certain things, trying to digivolve, use option cards. There was a video put out by, I think it's Jwit, I don't recall, but he actually went over the fact that the US version of the game actually got so nerfed it was somewhat unplayable to certain degrees. I don't recall, but I remember when I played it, I could never grasp how to actually play it. This one, this new version of the game, it's kind of like what happened with Bakugan, in which the newer sets of the cards are actually much easier to understand and much more fun. And I find this game to be like a combination of sort of Magic and, if anybody else remembers this card game, Duel Masters. I cannot find those cards to save my soul, but I had like a full set of them. And this game kind of reminds me of that with how it operates, with the shield system, summoning sickness, and stuff like that. The only thing it really doesn't have is mana, which is dealt with in a different way. Very fascinating, very, very fun. And the other thing that I really, really like about this game is that it's kind of got a blend of everything from the... I apologize, I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but it's got many different like references and stuff and things that synergize, and it's very, very fun right now to look through cards and try and synergize how these decks are gonna work and operate. Like this test deck that I built, I basically went with a simple red and yellow beatdown kind of thing, not focusing too much on effects and stuff, because the purpose of this deck is more to test other decks that I build. And believe it or not, the card I built the deck around for the most part is Selfiemon. Just because I like the fact that it blends so well, and it's kind of a good obstacle for testing stuff, being that it depletes energy and stuff like that. One thing I will say also, if you're just getting into the card game and you bought a starter deck, I recommend going online to the official website and checking the official rulebook on there, because what's on the back of these little cards that come in the starter deck, this isn't one of them, but it effectively has other things. But yeah, you can't see that too well. But let's see. Again, I apologize. I'm kind of going all off about things, trying to juggle everything, as you can tell. But I'm gonna have to get a refill on that. But no, the instructions that come with the cards don't exactly tell you all the rules about things. For example, one of the key factors of like reducing the DP power on these things, the basic instructions don't tell you that when you reduce it all the way to 0, the Digimon is destroyed. That's something very important to know, and the only way you probably figure that out without going to the official website is if you bought the yellow deck, which is TK or Takeru. And it's pretty good. But yeah, once you get on there and you start familiarizing yourself with some of the terminology of the cards, the game is really easy to understand and loads of fun to play, so long as you don't break your hand every turn like me and my buddy Dennis will do. And it's pretty interesting overall how this card game got itself a second chance, because a lot of games tend not to get much of a second chance. I know Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon are some of the main ones. Magic the Gathering as well. Full disclosure, I've never really been that much into Magic the Gathering, and those of you who see this and opt to rip me a new one for that, please feel free. I'm not saying the game's bad, I'm just saying I never got into it myself. But I think Digimon kind of hits the sweet spot for me, being something that's nostalgic. The rules are simple to grasp and have fun with, and I feel as though there's plenty to actually build on rather than focus on gimmicks, which is something that I'm going to go on a limb here, but the original Bakugan tended to focus more on more gimmicks, it seemed like, because they had so many different things. The spinning ones, the ones that would, I think, combine, trap ones, and when the reboot of it happened, I was very excited. I've got loads of figures for this card game. I've even got a couple full sets of things for that series, but the problem kind of started to come in where gimmicks were starting to rear their head, from what I saw. And then for me, that was kind of a red flag, and I opted to jump out because I'm kind of old school in that I'll happily learn some new mechanics and stuff, but I prefer things be built off of rather than new things just added into, try and make something new and fresh, put new bells and whistles on the bike rather than, focus on making the wheels a little stronger, if that makes sense. It's also one of the reasons I kind of dipped out of Yu-Gi-Oh! For a while, because overall, while I can grasp most of the mechanics that they're dealing with now, it always feels like the meta always just shifts over to the most recent gimmick. And I'm not fond of gimmicks. I'm really not. And again, not saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Is bad. I played that all the way through high school, through middle school and stuff like that. And I still check in now and again when I can. It's just I'm not that eager to dump money on the cards. I'll occasionally buy a starter deck, maybe a couple little special booster packs, just to see what things are. I always check the singles and stuff, because I always love when they put out the anime exclusive ones. It's always loads of fun to see that stuff. And that's my phone, thank goodness. But, let's see. Pardon me. Oh, thank goodness. It is my YouTube informing me that I am live now after 18 minutes of being live. So, thank you. But yeah. I was saying, yeah. With Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'm not that eager to jump back into it. Here, let me switch over to live. There we go. Well, you know what? No. I'll jump back to this little section. That way there's more than just my face on there, since there's no live chat or anything going on. I probably won't be on for an hour, since nobody seems to be here. But hey, that's the luck of the draw. Yep. Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm scrolling through things, trying to, again, keep an eye on everything. But no, when it comes to card games, I'm always more intrigued when they build off of mechanics that they establish, rather than focus on new gimmicks, even if they try to bring back some of the old mechanics just to spice them up with the gimmicks. Like I was saying with Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'll occasionally check back in when I see a bunch of anime cards, like the recent one that I saw focusing on the Winged Dragon of Ra, and I think there's 2 starter decks coming out, or are already out, that focus on Slifer the Sky Dragon and Obelisk the Tormentor, which love the original Egyptian god cards from that series. I actually have a Slifer the Sky Dragon that I got from a box that I bought from a con I went to a couple of years ago. And I just love the fact that out of all 3 of them, that's the one I pulled. And I also have a Winged Dragon of Ra Phoenix mode. That one I know for sure. So all I'd need is Sphere mode, regular Ra, and Obelisk the Tormentor, and I'd have the whole set. But yeah. Yeah, when it comes to most of these card games. I always love trying to learn the stuff, figure things out. I'm not one of those people who goes and dives into the meta to build the absolute 100% best deck, because if I wanted to just win, then I wouldn't experiment. I just look into what the best cards are, what's the best strategies to go with, and I find it much more fun and engaging to actually go and, like, again, this whole deck is basically spawned off of this one card, because I wanted something simple. I wanted something that worked cohesively, and wanted something to just be fun and not be so overpowered. But funny thing about this is this deck has so far beaten the deck that I built for more serious play, more times than it's actually supposed to. So yeah, it is what it is. Maybe that's just how I play, or other factors at hand. Yeah, one card game that I actually really enjoyed, and I am so sad that it just disappeared, is one called Chaotic. I have a bunch of tins downstairs, and maybe if you guys are interested, I'll show some of them to you. But that game was fascinating to me. Mostly because it was around the time when 4Kids was still very prominent. And it was their competition to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think it had the possibility, it had the chance to surpass it. Mostly because it was much more involved. With that game, you had to basically create an army, you deck them out with gear, you would select attacks for them, and you had certain costs that you had to abide by. You had to... I'm trying to remember this stuff off the top of my head. You had to create a third deck. You had you had two decks. One was an attack deck. Another one was a location deck, which you would try to stack in your favor as much as you could, because you got 10 of those cards, and each turn when you would try and engage in battle, you would select your battlefield from this randomly, and it was pretty cool, because sometimes if you tried to stack it in your favor, sometimes your opponent would use that against you. Gear would boost stats or reduce stats and stuff like that. And one of the main things that was very interesting about this game was that no two cards were alike. So they said, when you buy so many of them, you've got 50 copies of the most common card, you're going to have duplicates. But these cards had stats. Courage, wisdom, strength, and speed, as well as their energy, which was their life force, their hit points, so to speak. And most cards basically had the same kind of range, but the stats would occasionally differ. Not by drastic margins like the TV show would have you believe. I remember an episode where a guy scanned a certain monster. This is if you know the show, but for the sake of things, the version of the monster that he scanned had low stats. Never reflected in the card game, and I kind of wish that was the case for dead pulls, which would be funny as could be. You get this really rare card, this super strong monster in most cases, but you effectively caught him on a bad day. And I wish stuff like that happened, but it didn't. Everybody kind of had the same range of stuff. And that game actually would expand on things. As more packs were actually coming out, as more stuff was coming out about it, the lore of the card game actually expanded. And this was even reflected in the show at the time, which was wonderful marketing. they even had the online version of this card game, because at the bottom of every card was a code, and you could input this code into a website, and you would have that copy of the card. And I actually got banned from that site like 3 times by accident because I would mistype in a code, and they'd be like, well, you're trying to input fake codes. Is what it is. The site no longer works, unfortunately, but one fascinating thing about that site was, depending on what was happening in the show, you actually had the chance to build your online deck with special online-only cards from that, because you could build your deck online and challenge people. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. But yeah, I actually think I have one of the rarer cards in there. And here's the funny thing about this. This card is actually pretty unique in the fact it's one of the only double-sided cards. As in, you'd have your standard card here, and when you flipped it over, there was a whole other picture with all kinds of different stats and stuff on the back of it. Fascinating. And the funny thing was, when I pulled that, I did not know it was a reverse card. So for the longest time, the only time I actually found out there was a full picture on the back was when I went to use him. And that's when I found out that he was one of the only ones that you had to have face up on that reverse side, because the other side was actually his true self. But again, I'm rambling. I apologize for that. But all in all, yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this stuff out. My buddy Dennis wanted to be here tomorrow when I open these cards up, because he's as much of a Digimon fan as I am, though I'm a little more versed in the lore of things than he is, and this isn't a knock against him. And if you're watching, Dennis, you've admitted this. So, yeah. Overall, I'm looking forward to it, and I've got a few plans going. One of which might be a running joke if this takes off, especially for Digimon fans. If things take off well. Biggest thing I want to say here is I want this to be entertaining for everybody. I want it to be enjoyable, and if you guys are interested in this stuff, or if you're checking it out for the first time, I do have some plans on what I want to do. One of the big things I want to do with this is I'd love to do matches, because I've got this little camera, and if things go well, if I can get another one and angle it right, I plan to do some matches with my friend who's got a deck, I've got a deck, and we basically play off of each other. But I've had some ideas for some challenges and stuff, which I think are going to be really fun, trying to test our ability to build decks on the fly with limitations and stuff like that. And hey, if you guys have any suggestions for stuff like that, feel free. A few I have in mind is like what I'm going to call the no crest kind of deck, which if you're a Digimon fan, you probably get it, but if not, effectively it's going to be restricting the strength of some cards that we can actually use. Another one would be just if like hindering ourselves by not being able to use certain branches of cards. It's all going to be in good fun, and we'll probably have some laughs about it. And yeah, once I'm a little more established with this and I have a better idea of how I'm going to handle things, I do have some further ideas of what I'm going to do. The box openings, when they're older sets, going to be like little bounty cards that I'm going to be hunting for to fill out a collection, or if I'm looking for something specifically to build a deck. Uh, but tomorrow, with this deck new set, it's basically just going to be opening it up, seeing what we get, and figuring out how we're going to progress from there. Because right now, starting fresh, and I think that's one of the funnest times is with a fresh set of cards that you got nothing in. You're not 100% sure what you're going to be hunting for. So once I see what I'm going to be looking at and figuring out where I want to go, I think it's going to be fun. I do, and I hope you guys are going to be looking forward to joining me with it, because I really do want to share this. I do want to share this game that I've kind of really come to love. And I know a lot of people have had their card openings and stuff, and a few people have beat me to the punch when I probably could have got ahead of everything. But I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about being the first in to get the most views and stuff like that. I'm more concerned with being more fun. Because at the end, I'm going to be more of an entertainer with this than anything else. I'll happily have other people on if they'd like. And I'll always be happy to talk about this stuff that I really, really love. From games to cards to comics and stuff like that. Because I haven't been very prominent with comics for a while now. Hence, this channel is going to need a redubbing, since I've only put out like 2 reviews from years ago and one kind of topic-oriented video, which I love doing that kind of stuff. But I have dropped the ball in many regards. I've wanted to do a Pokemon Sword and Shield review when that first came out, and I said I wasn't even concerned with how soon I got it out, because I'd rather be accurate than one of the first ones. And at this point, it seemed kind of pointless, so I slacked off. And that's fully on me. And I don't blame anybody who kind of got pissed off at me for that. Again, I'm sorry I'm rambling, but first stream, setting things up, and why not get this stuff off my chest while we're here. But yeah, I had loads of plans, but unfortunately I ended up kind of losing steam most of the time, because I talked myself out of it, is the main thing. Like this right here. It took me a lot to try and be here and do this. Even with one person here watching, which I'm pretty sure is just me monitoring things. But if you watch this later and you get to this point, I'm not saying this to try and get you to come back, or saying this to try and get you to understand that I'm a broken person. All you have to do is see most of the other stuff that I deal with, and you'll see I'm a very, very broken person. But I try to have a smile on my face most of the time, because that is my way of dealing with that. And I loved working on things. I've got my headphones on. I just heard something. But no. That was always one of my big things. Is I always get so excited with plans that I have to do things, that I'm always so excited when I get these big ideas, and it always means the world to me when people seem excited for that as well. And I tend to really feel like I let people down when I don't follow through with things. And that's perfectly understandable, that if any of you guys have felt like I've dropped the ball, hey, you're right on. I have dropped the ball. And it's not that I don't take it seriously, or that I don't feel guilt about doing that kind of thing. But I mostly just try every day to find something to move forward with, because I want to do more fun things. I want to do stuff that helps people unwind. Um, that's always one thing that I love about some entertainers here, especially on YouTube, Twitch, and stuff like that, is when you guys are more focused on trying to make things pleasant for people. And I'd love to be one of those people. And if me opening cards, going over some geeky stuff with that, sharing my knowledge and experience, and even learning some stuff more than likely, because I'm sure a lot of Digimon fans can educate me on some stuff about this that I have not even dived into in the slightest bit. I look forward to that. I really do. And that's something that I very, very much want to have happen. Um, that's why I went to the trouble of trying to learn how to operate this, how to set up the stream properly, even went so far as to screw myself over by deleting some things that I can't get back right now. But I'll figure it out. Right now, this is just a very crude stream, just to set things up. Let you guys get a feel for the person you're going to be looking at when we get into this. And like I said, I do have ideas and I do have plans that I really would love to get out there. And I don't know. This is a first for me. It's like when I did my first Let's Play years and years and years ago. And I was so nervous about that. I was extremely nervous, and I am right now. But once you dive in a little bit and you realize that the water's fine, you start to swim. You start to get used to it, you start to unwind a little bit, and you do pretty good. So, I don't know. I don't have much plan for this. Like I said, this is just a testing stream to see how things go, see how things operate. And I think it's going all right so far. I'm still going to be learning this, so you'll see me adapt and go as things change. But I'm really looking forward to doing this. And I am going to do my very best to make sure tomorrow I am here, and I'm going to make sure that I am excited to open this box with you guys. And if you're excited too, I'm happy about that. If you're a Digimon fan, then I'm very thrilled that that you opted to give me a shot. And in fact, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to open a pack. I'm not going to. I'm saving that for tomorrow. But what I can do, I kind of peeled off the wrapping before, and I got a little peek. But I managed to flip the little promo card here without getting a look at it. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll do a little pre-unboxing thing. Let's see. Not gonna look at it. There we go. There we go. So let's take a look. There we go. A little hard to see. But we have Izzy. Looks like he is a black card. He's one of those ones that lets you start at 3 memory if you have less. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If all of the revealed cards are black, gain 1 memory. Place the cards on top of your deck in any order. So, pretty cool. Pretty good for a solid black deck, or if you've move the ratio a little bit in your favor, because I know there are some cards that you can actually do that with. I think the Ragnar Lordmon is a set that can do that with Ludomon being able to look through things. If I'm recalling correctly, I may be mistaken, but yeah. Right now, I'm actually running a red-black deck. I actually have a Blitz Greymon and Crest Garurumon in there. So this would actually not help me too much, but it's cool to have. It's cool to have, especially since these cards, I've actually got another one right over here that I pulled from another pack. A little hard to see, but it is a black Yatomon, as you can see. And pretty standard for this particular one, I believe. Yeah, this one actually kind of falls in line with most of them. I'm saying that like you guys know. But this particular set, the BT3, if you can see that. Yeah, hard to tell. But yeah, BT3 has quite a few of these cards that came out that serve as sort of traps. Trap Digimon. Again, akin to Duel Masters that had the shield system the same as Digimon does, where some monsters, when they would be broken as a shield, you could play them automatically. In fact, again, I have another one over here. Not sure why I kept them sealed up, but Garurumon here. If you've never seen him, I kind of don't think I need to peel off the see-through plastic for this one, but yeah. Garurumon. Different from Garurumon, because he's more pale, I believe. It usually varies depending on what you look at. I think sometimes he doesn't have the little fins or feathers, I guess. Other times he's just like more white and black than the pale blue with the blue. But yeah, he's got the same effect as Black Gatomon. Off the top of my head, I know Ankylomon actually has that ability, and he is in this deck that I put together. There he is. Yeah. Yeah. He's got the same ability. So that was them trying to set up some traps and stuff, trying to, again, build on mechanics of the series, of the game so far, rather than focus on more gimmicks. Because so far, the closest thing to a gimmick that they've had is the DNA Digivolution kind of thing, which, again, based off of Sylphimon here. Well, not based off of Sylphimon, but just an example I have on hand here. Being able to come from either side of the evolution material that we know of. Like with Sylphimon here being a combination of Aquilamon here and... Where are you? There we are. Of course, being a combination of these two. Again, I'm trying to fill in some of the dead air, so Digimon facts for those of you unaware. But, yeah, with this, I like that they do stuff like this where they build off of the mechanics and stuff rather than focus on new gimmicks and the like. Overall, I think it's good. I think it's... I think this game's going to go pretty far as time goes on, and I hope it does. I really do. I do hope that we get more stuff, because I've seen some of the card packs that are going to be coming up. I think there's some release stuff for the Next set in Japan, BT07, I think it is. I think some stuff's starting to leak. Because right now for them, it's BT06 is the current one. And like these, yeah, right there at the top, if you can see that, BT04. And that is one thing I'm also very happy about starting with this set, because 1.0 and 1.5 both kind of blended the first three sets together, which not a bad thing to do, but it's kind of irritating that things didn't quite flow properly. Like when I first got 1.0 and I filled out most of my binder, huge gaps until I got 1.5 to start filling in those blanks, and that was very irritating to have. But I get what they were doing with it. With the 1.0, because in BT01, I believe what they had at the time were red, blue, green, and purple, and yellow. Yellow was the other one. And black was kind of introduced in BT02. As well as white, but that's not very prominent now. Alright. Sorry about that. I had a feeling that trying to open cards on my phone would be a bad idea for that particular reason. Nothing important, just family calling. But no, I guess that's the best sign for me to sign off for right now. So I apologize for all that and all that fun stuff. But, yeah, I guess that will do it. If you, again, happen to watch this later on, I apologize very much for the crudeness of the stream itself. My first time streaming, and I've had to do this stuff off, no skill or knowledge of how to do it. I had to watch some tutorials and stuff. But I think I got a basic rundown of it. Once I get a little better with layouts and stuff, things will look a little bit better, I think. Especially if I can find some better assets, or, hey, if anybody has some they're willing to share. But right now, I think this is a good spot to end it. So, yeah. I will see you guys tomorrow when I go ahead and open these. So hopefully you guys weren't too bored, and hope you all have a good night. I will see you more than likely tomorrow. I'll put out a little thing on my Twitter, just if you're interested. So, hope you have a good one. So long.